Right now, something important might be developing for our team, and I wanted to talk to you about it in a simple and honest way. There's a real chance a talented player could be selected higher than expected in the draft, and if that happens, it could completely change the course of our defense next season. Sometimes teams worry too much about small details and forget what really matters on the field: effort, production, and impact. And when that happens, smart organizations seize the opportunity. This is one of those moments where everything could fall into place perfectly, but it all depends on how the draft unfolds. Would you take a chance on a high potential talent if he were available, or would you play it safe? If you're excited about what this could mean for the team, don't forget to like and leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think. Now let's get straight into this, because this is where things get very interesting. Ruben Bain Jr. measured in at 6'2", 263 pounds at the combine. His wingspan came in at 77 4/8 inches, but the number that has everyone talking? His arm length, 30 7/8 inches. For an edge rusher, that is incredibly short. In fact, it's the shortest arm length for an edge defender since 2019 and the third shortest since 1999. Only 2 other edge rushers in the last 27 years have measured shorter. That's the kind of stat that makes front offices nervous. And yes, arm length matters in the NFL, especially at edge. It affects how you disengage from tackles, how you create separation, how you finish plays. There has only been one edge rusher in the last 20 years with arms shorter than 32 inches who logged double-digit sacks in the NFL. That's why some teams might hesitate. That's why the buzz is real. But here's the thing. Turn on the tape. Ruben Bain Jr.'s film speaks for itself. You watch 10 seconds of this guy playing football and you see it immediately. Power, relentless motor, violence at the point of attack. He wins with strength over and over again. He was dominant in the college football playoff this past year. He logged 83 pressures, 9.5 sacks, and 15.5 tackles for loss. And even when he's not the one finishing the play, he's affecting it. He's collapsing pockets. He's forcing quarterbacks off their spot. He's disrupting run lanes. Every single down, he's making something happen. Now, yes, there are some concerns beyond arm length. His pursuit speed is an elite. He doesn't always close gaps at a high level when chasing down quarterbacks. But his production score over the last 5 years among edge prospects? He's in the top 5. Right there behind Will Anderson Jr., David Bailey from this class, Abdul Carter, who went 2nd overall last year, Ruben Bain Jr., and Aiden Hutchinson back in 2022. That is elite company. So now the question becomes, what if teams overthink this? We've seen it happen before. A highly touted prospect dominates in college, then a combined measurement causes panic. Kyle Hamilton experienced a slide due to positional value. Could arm length cause Ruben Bain Jr. to slide into the middle of the first round? If he's sitting there at 14 and Eric Costa is on the clock, there should be zero hesitation. You run that card in immediately, because when you watch Bain, you see a Baltimore Raven. Physical, relentless, built in the mold of what this franchise values defensively. And here's where it ties directly into what's happening inside the building. Jesse Minter has already emphasized how much the league is driven by offensive and defensive line play. He pointed to recent Super Bowl winners like the Eagles and Seattle, highlighting how dominant line play carried them. He made it clear, that's where it starts. That's how you win. Right now, looking at the 2026 roster, the Ravens don't have many edge rushers under contract. Mike Green, Adissa Isaac, Tavius Robinson. That's it. That's the room. Minter also talked about how many factors go into rushing the passer well, playing with the lead, blitz schemes, development, but he made it clear that pass rush is always a position you're looking to add more talent to. We saw what happened with Adafo. 5 games with the Ravens, 0 sacks. Then 12 games with the Chargers, nearly 8 sacks in the regular season. Then 3 sacks and a forced fumble in the playoffs, setting a franchise record for Los Angeles. Coaching matters, development matters, but you still need talent in the room. Adding Jesse Minter alone could elevate the production of this unit, but pairing him with a high upside, high motor prospect like Ruben Bain Jr., that could be transformative. And this isn't the only movement happening. The Ravens also held formal meetings with Caleb Banks, the massive defensive tackle from Florida who blew up the combine with his measurables at 6'6" and over 327 pounds. And Eli Raridan, the tight end out of Notre Dame who put up 32 catches for 482 yards and averaged 15.1 yards per catch. The front office is clearly doing its homework on both lines and offensive versatility. Because here's what this really comes down to: identity. What kind of defense are the Baltimore Ravens building heading into 2026? We already know Jesse Minter believes this is an offensive line and defensive line driven league. He said it clearly. Look at the recent Super Bowl winners. Look at how those final games were decided. It started in the trenches. It always starts in the trenches. And if that's the blueprint, then passing on a player with Ruben Bain Jr.'s production and motor because of arm length might be overthinking it. Let's dig deeper into what he actually brings beyond the measurables. 83 pressures last season. That is not a fluke number. That is consistent disruption. 9.5 sacks. 15.5 tackles for loss. And remember, those numbers don't even fully capture his impact. There are edge rushers who rack up sacks because coverage holds up or because someone else flushes the quarterback into them. Bain creates chaos himself. He collapses the pocket with power. He resets the line of scrimmage in run defense. He forces quarterbacks off platform. That kind of down-to-down disruption is exactly what Baltimore has thrived on historically. Now imagine plugging that into a room that currently only has Mike Green, Adissa Isaac, and Tavius Robinson under contract for 2026. That's not a deep group. That's not a finished product. That's a position group that clearly needs reinforcements. And Minter openly acknowledged that pass rush success can depend on game flow, blitz rate, development, but he also said it's always a position you're looking to add more to. Always. And let's not ignore the psychological side of this draft process. Every single year, a top prospect slides because of a measurable. We've seen it. A 40 time, a shuttle drill, arm length, something small becomes magnified. Teams start talking themselves out of elite tape. If that happens here, if front offices convince themselves that 30 and 7/8 arms outweigh 83 pressures and a dominant college football playoff run, then Baltimore could be sitting there watching value fall right into their lap. And think about this strategically. If Bain does slide into the middle of the first round, that changes the board. That pushes other talent down. It creates options. But if he's there at 14, and you truly believe in the tape, and the tape is loud, then Eric Costa doesn't hesitate. You don't draft scared. You draft impact. Now let's widen the lens a little bit because this draft conversation isn't just about edge rusher. The Ravens are doing serious homework across the board. Caleb Banks out of Florida absolutely turned heads at the combine with his size. 6'6", over 327 pounds, massive wingspan, massive hands. The production isn't fully there yet, and he only played 3 games last year due to injury, but in 2024 he showed flashes with 21 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. He's green, yes. He's a gamble, yes. But that kind of physical profile paired with veteran leadership on the interior defensive line, that's how you develop long-term dominance. Then there's Eli Raridan from Notre Dame. 32 catches, 482 yards, 15.1 yards per reception. That's serious production for a tight end. And with uncertainty around the tight end room moving forward, especially with the expectation that Isaiah likely could be gone, Baltimore is clearly evaluating options. In a Ben Johnson-style offense, which aligns with what Declan Doyle brings, tight ends aren't just pass catchers, they're versatile pieces. They line up as fullbacks. They block. They create mismatches. Raridan fits that mold. But let's be honest, the headline is still Ruben Bain Jr. because edge rushers change games. They close games. They wreck playoff drives. And when you think about the Ravens getting back to competing for a Super Bowl, it starts with affecting the quarterback. You already have a defensive mind in Jesse Minter who understands how to maximize front seven talent. You've seen how coaching can elevate production, but talent acquisition is the foundation. And if a prospect with top 5 production metrics over the last 5 years is sitting there because of arm length concerns, that's when disciplined organizations strike. So here's what I want to know from you as we continue breaking this down. Are you willing to bet on elite production and relentless motor over a historical measurement trend? Or do you think the arm length data is too strong to ignore in today's NFL? And if it's not Ruben Bain Jr. at 14, then who becomes the priority target to solidify this defensive front for 2026? Let's keep this conversation going.